welcome back to the deep dive. So if you're like most people, you probably know that sound, right? The dentist drill.
Oh, yeah. Not exactly a favorite sound for many.
Definitely not. And you know that frustrating feeling maybe after you've had a cavity filled, this idea that once your tooth enamel is gone, well, that's it. It's
Right.
gone.
It's the hardest substance in your body, but dentistry has mostly treated its loss as, well, permanent structural damage that we can only patch up.
But what if that wasn't quite the full story? What if there was a way to actually rebuild it?
Exactly.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some really groundbreaking research. It's coming out of the University of Nottingham.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to shift dentistry away from just damage control towards more like biological construction. We're talking about a potential solution that could help your body regrow enamel.
Which could make a huge difference for treating dental decay, sensitivity, things that affect, what, nearly half the world's population?
It's huge. So we've looked at a fantastic new paper in Nature Communications and some analysis from SciTech Daily. Stick with us as we unpack the science behind this.
Yeah, it's really fascinating stuff.
And hey, if you appreciate getting this kind of info distilled for you, please do remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, maybe check out the Fourth Wall merch.
Gotta check the merch.
Click those affiliate links. It helps us out. And definitely drop your topic suggestions in the comments below. We really do build these deep dives based on what you're curious about.
And we should probably underline just how big a deal this enamel problem is.
Yeah.
It's not just, a cavity here and there. Enamel degradation is the starting point for tooth decay. And as I mentioned, it impacts nearly 50% of people worldwide.
Wow, half the population.
Yeah. And the infections, the chronic inflammation that can result. Researchers are increasingly linking that to really serious systemic conditions, things like diabetes, cardiovascular disease.
So fixing this basic dental issue could actually have knock-on effects for general health.
Potentially, yes, significant ones. Addressing this might be more than just saving teeth. It could impact overall public health.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more. If losing enamel is so critical, why aren't current treatments good enough? We've had things like fluoride varnishes for ages.
Right.
Why don't they achieve what you called genuine structural recovery? What's missing?
Well, it comes down to the basic biology and physics, really. Enamel, once it's mature and lost, doesn't naturally regenerate, full stop.
Okay.
Now, when we use fluoride treatments or these remineralization solutions, they do help. They encourage minerals to sort of stick back onto the tooth surface.
They do something.
They do something, yes. But the way those minerals deposit is, well, it's kind of haphazard. It's what scientists call amorphous mineralization. It's chaotic.
Ah, so not structured.
Exactly. It creates a sort of superficial layer. It can slow down erosion, maybe reduce sensitivity a bit, but it doesn't properly integrate with the original highly organized crystal structure of healthy enamel.
I see. So it's like putting plaster over a crack instead of rebuilding the brickwork.
That's a great analogy. It's essentially a fragile patch. It's poorly bonded compared to the real thing. It treats the symptoms, slows down the decay, sure, but it doesn't rebuild that fundamental architecture needed to really withstand chewing, acids, all that stuff long term.
Got it. So that lack of real structural recovery,
Yeah,
that's the gap this new technology aims to fill.
precisely. That's what the Nottingham team focused on.
Okay, so let's talk about the innovation itself. This bio-inspired protein-based gel developed at the University of Nottingham. Tell us about it. What's it made of and why is it different? You mentioned no fluoride.
Correct. The core material is protein-based and, yes, notably fluoride-free.
Why is being fluoride-free a big deal here? Isn't fluoride usually seen as good for teeth?
It is, in the right amounts. But too much fluoride can actually cause fluorosis, which ironically can weaken enamel. So there's that. But maybe more importantly for this technology, fluoride doesn't provide the guidance system needed for really organized regrowth. It helps minerals deposit, but not necessarily in the right way.
Okay, so this gel does something different.
Yes. It's called bio-inspired because it essentially mimics what natural proteins do when your teeth first form. Proteins like amelogenin. They act like guides, directing how the enamel crystal should grow and align perfectly.
So it's copying nature's instruction manual.
In a way, yes. The gel acts as a scaffold or a framework. And crucially, they designed it so dentists could apply it really easily, using the same kinds of methods they already use for fluoride treatments. It fits into the workflow.
That practical side is key for getting it adopted, obviously.
Mm.
But let's pause on the science, because this sounds almost like magic. A protein gel turning into hard enamel.
Right.
How does that happen? How does this soft gel actually rebuild that super hard structure What's the mechanism?
Okay, this is where it gets really cool. The process relies on something called epitaxial mineralization.
Epitaxy. Okay, break that down.
Think of your existing healthy enamel crystals like a perfectly laid foundation of bricks. But maybe some bricks are missing or eroded on the surface.
Right, damaged areas.
Yes. So when this protein gel is applied, it settles into those damaged spots. But instead of just filling the hole randomly, it uses the existing crystal structure, that underlying brick pattern, as a template.
A template. How?
The protein framework actively guides where new mineral building blocks should go. It essentially dictates the precise alignment for the new crystals.
And where do these new building blocks, these minerals, come from?
That's the other elegant part. They come directly from your own saliva.
Really?
Yep. The gel is designed to attract and bind calcium and phosphate ions, which are naturally present in saliva.
Wow.
And this epitaxial growth process ensures that each new mineral crystal snaps into place in the exact right orientation, perfectly continuing the pattern of the existing enamel.
So going back to the brick analogy, it's not just dumping cement in the hole. It's carefully placing each new brick so it locks perfectly with the original wall structure.
Exactly. That precise, guided alignment is absolutely critical. It's what allows the new material to truly merge with the natural tooth, not just stick to the surface.
And that merger creates the strength.
That's the key. It restores both the original intricate structure and the mechanical strength needed to function like real enamel. It's a huge leap beyond those superficial patches we talked about.
Okay, the science sounds incredible,
Mm-hmm.
but does it actually work in practice, under real-world conditions? What did the researchers, Dr. Hassan and Professor Mata, find when they tested it?
They really put it through its paces. They simulated what they called real-life situations. So think chewing forces, the abrasion from toothbrushing, exposure to acidic stuff like sodas or fruit juices.
Kind of abuse our teeth take every day.
Pretty much. And the results were really promising.
What did they find?
They found that the regenerated enamel behaved mechanically and chemically just like healthy natural enamel. It properly recovered that integrated, organized architecture.
So it stood up to the stress test.
It did. Which is crucial, right? If it crumbled under chewing pressure, it wouldn't be clinically useful. They even used electron microscopy to look at it up close.
Oh.
The images apparently showed beautifully organized, epitaxially grown crystals replacing the eroded areas after just a couple of weeks of treatment. It confirmed the structural recovery wasn't just superficial.
That visual confirmation is powerful.
Right.
Now, the research also mentioned using it on exposed dentine. Can you explain why that's important? What is dentine and why would sealing it be a big deal?
Sure. So dentine is the layer underneath the enamel. It's softer, and it contains thousands of tiny microscopic tubes called tubules.
Okay.
These tubules run directly towards the nerve pulp inside the tooth. When your enamel wears away, this dentine layer gets exposed.
And that causes...
Sensitivity, that sharp pain you might get from cold drinks or sweet foods or even just cold air, that's often because stimuli are reaching the nerve through these open dentine tubules.
I see. So how does this gel help with that?
Well, current treatments often try to just block the openings of those tubules, sometimes only temporarily. But this new material, because of its guided mineralization process, can potentially create a stable, highly integrated mineral layer right on top of the exposed dentine.
Sealing the tubules more permanently.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
By growing a natural-like mineral structure over them, it could offer much longer-lasting relief from dental hypersensitivity.
That would be amazing for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And there's another benefit. It could also help dental restorations, like fillings or crowns, bond better to the tooth.
How so?
If you create a more sound, integrated mineral base on the dentine before placing a filling, that filling is likely to adhere better and last longer. Better foundation, stronger structure overall.
So it's not just repairing enamel. It's potentially reducing pain and making other dental work more effective. That's quite versatile.
It really is.
Okay, let's try and summarize the key takeaways here for you, the listener. We're looking at a new gel.
Yep, a protein-based gel.
That's fluoride-free. It cleverly uses ions like calcium and phosphate, just grabbing them from your own saliva.
Mm-hmm. The body's own resources.
And through this process, epitaxial mineralization.
Right, the guided growth.
It rebuilds enamel that's structurally integrated and mechanically strong, just like the original stuff.
That's the essence of it. And it seems to work on dentine, too, potentially tackling sensitivity and improving restorations.
So what's the path forward? Is this just stuck in the lab, or could we see it soon?
Well, the team seems very focused on translation. They designed it from the start thinking about clinicians and patients aiming for something safe, quick to apply, scalable, and versatile.
Good thinking.
And they've actually founded a startup company called Mintech Bio specifically to commercialize this technology.
Okay, so they're serious about getting it out there.
Very serious.
No.
Their goal, quite ambitiously, is to have a first product ready for clinical use possibly by next year, so 2026.
Wow, that's incredibly fast for this kind of breakthrough.
It is. It shows a real drive to move this from research into actual patient benefit.
That's genuinely exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up, let's connect this back to that bigger picture you mentioned earlier. If this kind of regenerative dentistry becomes widespread, and we can effectively stop or even reverse enamel degradation and the resulting inflammation on a large scale, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is this more than just fixing teeth?
It poses a really interesting question.
Could it be seen as a fundamental systemic health intervention? A way to potentially mitigate risks associated with those conditions you mentioned, like cardiovascular disease and diabetes.
It certainly forces us to think differently about the mouth-body connection, doesn't it? If chronic dental inflammation is a contributing factor to systemic issues, then preventing that inflammation at its source by maintaining the structural integrity of teeth using the body's own mechanisms could have profound long-term health implications.
It really reframes preventative dental care into something much broader, maybe even a pillar of preventative medicine overall.
It's a compelling thought. Maintaining that barrier, that enamel integrity throughout life. The potential benefits could be truly staggering.
An incredible idea to ponder. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into what really could be the future of dentistry.
My pleasure. Fascinating topic.
Absolutely. Remember to keep those suggestions coming and stay tuned for our next exploration into the material shared by another curious learner. See you next time.